you want to start off with some background?
Well, I'm Albert Durer, and I lived from 1471 until 1528, and I was an artist in the Renaissance.
What is the Renaissance?
The Renaissance was a time of rebirth after the plague where art and creativity were positive.
How and where did it begin?
It began in Italy, and it began by people creating art to kind of express.
What were the characters of the Renaissance art? Like how are they different than medieval art? What are the techniques in
Renaissance art had a lot of like positivity, and it was very like detailed and very realistic in 3D, whereas medieval art was kind of more dark and also very church related, and it was more 2D and less realistic looking. And there was less sculptures then, and there were a lot, if that, in Renaissance.
Who are the major artists of the Renaissance period?
Machiavelli, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Raphael, Shakespeare, and Gutenberg were big key people in the Renaissance.
Do you know how the artists were trained? What was their status in society?
Well, tradesmen spent younger time learning the craft, and after that they would open their own workshop if you were a master, and you were like sent away to work with real artists, and it took a long time to learn, and they were all craftsmen, and artists were like, they were all craftsmen, and they were only artists if they were hired to be artists. Yeah.
Do you know what was their audience?
Their audience was, if it was a public place like Michelangelo did the Sistine Chapel, then it would be to everyone, but specific art was usually like for nobles that would pay them to create art, especially for them, and yeah, that's about it.
Alright, why don't we start off with a little bit about you?
Okay. Well, I'm Albert Durer, and I was born May 21st, 1471, and I died April 6th, 1528.
Where'd you live, like your early life?
I was born and lived my entire life in Nuremberg, Germany.
Who influenced your work?
My role model was Michael W.G. Gemmitt, and he led Nuremberg's art in his time, and he was a very big role model and well-known kind of celebrity.
Alright. What is some of your more important work?
My more important and well-known works were The Rhinoceros, Adam and Eve, Apocalypse, Woodcuts, Knight's Death, and the Devil were my more well-known pieces.
What's their importance? Like, what makes them important to that time period?
Well, my art was darker because it was directly after the plague and wasn't so far into the Renaissance, which is when it was more peaceful and slightly less religious and, more happy kind of, but mine was still dark and reflecting the mood after the plague had diminished.
What's your legacy?
My legacy is first truly international artist, so I was well known and respected by everyone, or most everyone in Europe,